Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? How are we doing? I'm kind of fired up today for a multitude of reasons.
Good afternoon, everybody.
There we go. We got the audio going. All right. Cool. All right. So I'm just going to hop on over here now that I know we have Facebook working. I'm going to hop back over to Zoom. Okay. Perfect. All right, guys. As you're hopping on, welcome. I just wanted to welcome you to another installation of commercial sales for agents, right? I don't know if you guys noticed anything different today, and there's a reason why I'm pretty fired up. Let me know in the chat if you notice anything different than weeks past. First person to get it gets the proverbial gold star. So let me know what you noticed. And also, by the way, as you're hopping on, do me a favor and type in where you're from and like what your submarket is, you know. So if you're from Colorado and you're from Denver, or if you're from whatever, Minneapolis, you know, Minnesota, Minneapolis, right? So let me know where you're coming in from. I'm just going to check, make sure we got everything going in the Facebook group, and we'll be ready to rock in a minute. Thanks for joining us. You could be anywhere in the world today, and you're here with me, so I appreciate your time. So. And by the way, if you notice anything different, let me know. This is so cool. I'm pretty excited. But all right, but you have to have been tuning in for the last several weeks to be able to see what's what. So we got we have Srava Gunzluru from California. Welcome, Sravya. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correct. California, by the way. Awesome. I'm super jealous of you guys. You are the second one, number 2 in the country in terms of average sales price. You guys are at 2.8 million, which makes your average sale price in commercial a cool $84,000 for one side of the transaction at 3%, right? So welcome, Sravya. Glad you tuned in because we're going to be going over some awesome stuff today. So I'm not sure, I haven't recognized your name from weeks past, but if you do notice anything different, maybe you've seen some of our lives that were previously recorded. Let me know if you notice anything different. That being said, do me a favor also, folks, if you're catching this on the replay, or if you're catching it live, type in #live or #replay to let me know when you're coming along. Sravya says, this is my first time. Awesome. Well, welcome. Glad to you made it to your first meeting. We're going to wait for a couple more folks to hop on. I see people are coming in, trickling in the door, as it were. But we're going live like we do on Mondays to share some information, to share a little insight. And we have a little promotion, guys. Don't forget at the end to remind me to let you know about what some promotion we have coming up this week. It's going to be super duper cool, right? So, Sravya, are you on the residential side? Are you on the commercial side? Have you closed any transactions? Tommy says no sound. Okay, that's strange. Sravya, do me a favor. Can you hear me? Because we have some other people that have responded that they said they can hear me. Does anyone else not have any sound? Looks like we have Nakia Cole. She's watching from Winston-Salem. Welcome. You can hear me, right? Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Sravya, thank you very much. Appreciate you letting me know. Okay. So Tommy, just might be the sound on your end or on either on your phone or on your device, but whatever you got there. So awesome. So Winston-Salem, North Carolina, welcome. Let me just pop open. Just gonna let you guys know. And let's see, Fran Turner's watching. Fran, you're coming in from Atlanta, Georgia, if my memory serves. Am I correct? Cool. Okay, you're coming in. You closed 2 residential in Cincinnati. Awesome. Tommy, you got me now. Cool. Tommy, where are you coming in from? And I'm just curious. I want to make sure I get address everybody as they're coming in from. Yeah. Okay. So Fran's here from Georgia. Welcome. Good to see you again. Fran's been around a while. Let me see. All right, so I always keep a running list here. I don't have my binder. I have that in my other office because I've been working from home, but that's another story altogether. But let me see. All right, cool. All right, so the Georgia folks. So Fran, just to put this conversation into perspective, the average size commercial transaction in Georgia is 1.2 million. As I mentioned before, the average size transaction is 2.8 million in California. Here in Florida, our average size transaction, according to CoStar, is 1.9 million, you know? So I always like to teach you guys things and explain, commercial concepts but it really helps when you understand, okay, this is great. Like, remember being in high school or in college, like, this is great, but how am I going to apply this in the real world? Is very, very simple, right? If you think of how we're going to apply this in the real world, you pick up real fast what the average size transaction is in your area. It adds up quick. Speak of the devil, I was just mentioning Marjan's on here. He's also here in Florida. So the average size transaction here in Florida is 1.9 million. That'll put a nice, what is that? What's 1.9 million times 0.03? Anybody good with a calculator? Let's see. I just want to make sure I don't want to misquote numbers. But that would put 1900 times 0.03. Yeah, that's 57,000 of you, for those of you in Florida, right? So, and then 1.2 million at 3 is going to be 36,000, right? So if you guys, if all you ever did from any of this training was close one transaction, right? Hopefully you close a ton more than that. But if only one, from California, you're putting $84,000 in your pocket. From Georgia, you're putting 36,000 in your pocket. From Florida, you're putting 57,000 in your pocket, right? So just to give you guys kind of a bit of an idea. Hey, Marjan, nice to see you. Hello to you too. So just to give you an idea, guys, the beautiful thing about the commercial business is how quickly those commissions add up. You don't have to sell 20, 30, 40 units like you do on the residential side to make really good money. I mean, if you sold a dozen to 15 properties in a year, you could have a knockout year, So by all means, guys, thanks for coming by. We're going to touch on some concepts. I see Jimbo's coming in. Welcome, Jimbo. How are you? Where are you coming in from, Jimbo? Just out of curiosity. And I was alluding to it before, right? If you notice anything different about the background, right? This is the real world. Like, I've been working from home a lot lately. I blew my ACL out in July. I had to have it replaced. So I've got a new ACL and screws and everything in my knees, and I'm actually standing today for the first time since July 15th, standing to do the live. So everything else has been sitting down. So I feel so much more alive, so much more energy. So I'm super duper fired up to bring you guys the usual kind of messaging and perspectives and thoughts about the commercial world, right? So we're going to be hopping on. It looks like San Antonio. Jimbo, welcome from San Antonio. Let's just take a look to give you an idea of what this means. Texas is, let's see, Texas is 1.6 million, right? So 1.6 at 3% is 48,000 for one transaction. So I guess it's pretty easy to see when you start adding these numbers up. Okay, if I want to add an extra $100,000 to my business, 2 transactions on average in the state of Texas would add an extra $96,000 to your business. 3 makes you just shy of 150, right? So you don't need a whole lot to make a big difference in your bottom line, right? And I saw someone hitting the like button. Thank you, guys. By the way, I love to pay it forward. What I like to do is, if you can hit those, there's a thumbs up button and a heart button. If you can just smash those a bunch of times, what that does is it tells the Facebook algorithm that people are watching, people are engaged, and it spreads the message that we are here and we're live out to a larger audience. So do me a favor. I want to share this with as many people as possible. This is my passion project, helping other folks. Yes, love it. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. So I'm trying to help other folks. So if you can help me get the message out there, that is absolutely awesome. I see Catherine Duncan's on. Welcome, Catherine. Nice to see you again. So guys, what we're going to get into today, when I say guys, just know that it's a unisex term. It doesn't mean men or ladies. It means all of y'all, I guess. I'm from Jersey, so I can't say y'all. It's just kind of against my vocabulary. But bottom line is, thank you so much for coming. I want to share some concepts with you folks that will give you a different perspective. Maybe give you an idea of what might make an impact in your business, right? Maybe impact your family positively, your community positively, whatever you use, your financial gains for. I want to help you with. I want to help you understand a bit more about the industry. If you haven't already closed your first commercial transaction, I'd like to be able to empower you to do so, give you some ideas and some thoughts and some things about kind of what's necessary to do so. And we'll go ahead and get right into it. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hop into it. And sorry, I'm itching my nose a lot. I have allergies, and the change of the weather just absolutely kills me every year. So I'm trying to. So if you see me, my eyes are a little watery, but we're getting through it. Okay. So we're going to start this thing here. Let me know when you see Picture of a guy with his arms crossed, tired of working weekends, difficult clients, and 24/7 availability to customers. Here's what to do, right? So that is a tagline that I think a lot of people on here can recognize, right? They can understand, and they've all been there before, okay? And the reason is nobody wants to work 7 days a week. Nobody wants to work with people that are unpleasant to work with, and nobody wants to feel like they're tied to their cell phone all hours of the night, where you can't even have dinner with your family, or you can't have a day off, and that sort of thing, right? So really, the biggest thing is it's important for you to understand, there is an alternative. There's a better way of doing it. Okay, so let's take a look at it, right? So don't forget, guys. At the end of the call, if I forget, please remind me to remind you guys about the promotion we have going on. Okay, so just so you know, okay, like I mentioned, everybody has gone through it. We've all dealt with unpleasant clients. We've all worked too many weekends. We've all been feeling like we've been tied to our cell phones, right? And everybody that was ever at the top, okay, started at the bottom. So it's okay if some of these concepts and some of these perspectives might be a little bit daunting, right? Everybody had their first day sometime, right? Even the person that makes it look easy struggled at some point, okay? So, one thing you really want to think about is that not everybody, was born, a high producer. What they wound up doing is they wound up, starting from, eating some humble pie, right? And at the end of the day, they wound up, working their way up and getting the skills necessary so that they could get to the point where they are a top producer. Okay, so I'm just going to be popping the screenshot on here. See if it comes up. Okay, cool. All right, here we go from the current slide. So don't worry about it. Like if I promise you, if you're feeling it, someone else has gone through it, right? So feel free to let it out because it might help someone else. I can tell you kind of my what they call origin story in marketing or whatever. But basically, like, there was a point where I was struggling and I was trying to figure out the combo and kind of crack that code. It takes a while to learn these things. So don't ever feel like because I'm sure like your first day, let's say you're a residential agent, your first day was a little bit tough. The first time you signed a contract or filled out a contract, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? So a lot of people think that it's just impossible for, if you're working on the residential side to learn the commercial side. I'm here to tell you, it's not as hard as you think it is, right? There are some key skills you need to learn, but it's not impossible to do. So how many of you, like, if you type in the chat, type +1 if you agree with me, like, how many of you by a raise of hands or +1s in the chat would like to learn what it would be like to add another 1 or 2 or maybe 3 commercial transactions a year on top of kind of like what your current output is on the residential side. Let's say you're making $150,000 or $175,000 a year. Wouldn't it be nice to add, another $50,000 or $70,000 or $100,000 a year, right? I see some thumbs up coming up, right? Okay. By the way, Lisa, welcome from Georgia. Alfred, how are you? Yeah. Okay. Shelly, you feel me, right? So it is 100% possible, right? So don't feel bad that you haven't kind of figured it out yet, because nobody was born knowing how to do this stuff. We all figured it out. Okay. So if you're wondering if kind of like that frustration of like, oh man, we really have to do something different because I don't want to be stuck to my cell phone while I'm at my child's dance recital. I don't want to be trying to, send emails while I'm sitting in the bleachers at my son's, t-ball game, So just know that, like, if you're frustrated with all these things, you're frustrated with kind of the way business is currently, right? There is an end to it, and there are solutions out there. So you can find a solution, but you have to take that first step, right? You have to be the one to do something about it. No one's going to change your life for you. You're going to have to take that first step, right? But there are people out there that are willing to help, myself included, right? I'm here to help. That's why I started this Facebook group, is to help empower folks to learn how to gain this skill set so they can go off and better their lives and the lives of their families, community, etc. Okay? So who is this for, right? Who am I speaking to right now? I'm talking to residential folks that have never closed a commercial transaction, right? Residential folks that might have closed some commercial transactions and want to close larger ones or more of them, right? Or finally, maybe you're a new real estate licensee and you're not sure if you want to get started on the residential side or commercial side. The purpose of this training is to kind of compare and contrast, the residential side versus the commercial side, and allow you guys to make up your own conclusion as to what do you think might work for you. Some people might look at commercial and say, you know what, that just sounds like too much work. No problem. And some people might look at it and say, yes, that's what I'm looking for. Let's talk about kind of what each side is like and how they compare and so forth, how they stack up, right? So my goal for the training, right, is just to kind of open your mind to a different perspective, right? I want to show you the benefits of adding commercial brokerage to your skill set and how just a few commercial deals can have a major impact on your business and your lifestyle, right? So for instance, Lisa that hopped on from Georgia, we were just talking about a second ago, Georgia's average sale price, for instance, is 1.2 million, right? 3 deals at 1.2 million. So 3% of 1.2 million is 36,000, right? 3 deals at that number is 96,000 extra dollars in your pocket a year. So like by show of hands, like who could do with an extra 100 grand in their pocket for learning a skill set? Anybody? Like, unless you hate money, please type 1 in the comments, right? Let me know you're with me, or hit that thumbs up button. You let me know, are you with me? One of my favorite rappers of all time, Tupac, used to say, "Holla if you hear me," right? So I just want you to know that you can have a major impact in your business and your lifestyle if you add just a few commercial deals, right? But the only way for you to learn how to close more commercial properties quickly is through a proven plan with the right tools and the right guidance. This isn't something that you just figure out intuitively in a week. You got to have, if you're walking down a dark alley, you got to have a flashlight, right? You got to see where you're going. Okay. So that's that proven plan, and the right tool is like your flashlight, right? And finally, I'm going to show you how we bridge the gap between residential and commercial by learning the commercial real estate foundations, demystifying and understanding valuation, and why you need to build a solid investor list. Now, you're probably asking, like, who is this guy? Why does he have a Facebook group? What is he doing here, right? So that's me. I'm Christian Peter, CCIM. And I just want to let you know, like, this isn't stuff I read in a book. Like, I mean, I have read about it in books, but what I'm saying is this is what I do all day, every day, okay? And just to give you like, so the proof is in the pudding, right? This isn't just something I've thought about. Like, people say, well, why would I listen to this guy? Like, who is this guy, right? If you see me holding that, that's a wire transfer. That's from a transaction I did a few years back, right? I think it was 2 years ago, something like that. Just to give you like an idea. And if you're wondering why I have that like an ear-to-ear grin, I'll show you why, okay? Because in one transaction, let me just move this over here. In one transaction, in one day, okay, see wire transfer back in 2019, there we go, right? One day, one transaction, I made $178,000. And actually, that's inaccurate. They shorted me $650. So I actually made $178,650 from one commercial transaction, okay? And that was for a building that sold for a little less than $4 million, okay? So my point is, I want to show you guys, open your minds up to what the possibilities of. This is one transaction, one day, okay? Don't get me wrong, there's been plenty more like this since, but I want to show you just what one possibility is, okay? So my credentials, I'm the owner of Dark Horse Commercial. I'm a full-time commercial real estate broker. I have a CCIM designation, which is kind of like, I guess like you could call it the PhD of commercial real estate, right? I spent over 10 years in property management, have an entrepreneurship and small business management degree. I'm also well-versed in construction. I have many, many years in the construction background. I'm from a construction family. So I'm a master plumber, licensed electrical contractor, yada, yada, yada. All I do and all I know is commercial real estate. It's what I've spent the last 25 years of my life doing. Now, before we get into the kind of the comparing and contrasting commercial real estate to residential, it's not my intent to belittle or talk badly about the practice of residential, right? I just want to show you the differences and the possibilities to give you an idea. Again, open your mind to the possibilities of how adding commercial to your practice can greatly impact your life and that of your family, okay? So a lot of people will say, well, why commercial brokerage? Why would I even bother? I'm already happy doing what I'm doing. And I say, that's awesome. But give a few things to think about, right? one thing I come across, and mind you, at this point, the Facebook is about 1,700 folks strong, and we're growing every day, right? But this is not something I came up with and just thought of maybe, right? This is from me talking to thousands of residential agents in terms of what their experience is, and as well as pulling from my experience on the commercial side, right? So for instance, I know a lot of folks, and folks, do me a favor, type 24 in the comments if you've ever felt like you were tied to your phone 24/7, or like your clients demanded your attention 24/7. Do me a favor and let me know if that's everything. Type 24 in the comments, okay? Whereas on the expectation of residential agents is that of 24/7 availability. The smartphone, although we love them and everything that they can do, a lot of times, people think that because you have a smartphone that you need to be able to answer them instantly, right? So there's an expectation on the part of clients. The nice thing is, and there's a reason for that, by the way, before I get into the nice thing about the commercial side, is oftentimes people buying homes, they also have jobs. Probably 80% of them are not their own boss. So they have to handle these things on nights and weekends and so forth. And they have to handle it outside of business hours. Whereas commercial clients, right, they're business people. So they're dealing with their business issues like commercial real estate during business hours. So it's oftentimes the expectation is that of 9 to 5 availability Monday through Friday, okay? And I see Marjan says 24/7, she's 24. Monica says 24, Naki says 24, right? So yeah, I mean, it's very, very common. It's a very, very common kind of complaint or issue working on the residential side. Now, mind you, on the residential side, you folks tend to have many more transactions, and on the commercial side, we have fewer transactions. That's no secret at all, right? However, on the residential side, the commissions tend to be smaller, and on the commercial side, the commissions tend to be larger. And I'm going to show you statistics in just a second from the National Association of Realtors of why, how the numbers really look. I always tell people, whenever I'm in a listing presentation, I'll tell a potential client, I'll say, listen, brokers might tell you stories, but the numbers will never lie to you. These are the numbers, black and white, easy to determine, what's the truth, right? So on the residential side, and I'll tell you what, do me a favor and raise your hand, type +1 in the chat. If you've ever had an emotional client, someone had an absolute meltdown and call you up kicking and screaming, or they're upset and crying and emotional and so forth. Has anyone ever had that? Type +1 in the chat if you've ever had an emotional client that absolutely ruined your day because they're just dumping on, because residential properties, right, they mean a lot more to us. Like in commercial, it's an investment. Either it works or it doesn't. Whereas, your home, that's a very personal choice. Like for some people, it's their retirement, it's their life's dream, it's their forever home, right? So a lot of people, there's a lot of emotions tied up with the decision to purchase a home, right? So it just kind of comes with the territory. Whereas on the commercial side, we deal with more business-minded folks in terms of a business owner wants to add a new location. They want add another pizzeria, or they want to open another restaurant, or they want to open a second automotive garage, whatever that might look like, right? So at the end of the day, they're not as emotionally tied. They're just, okay, well, it works, it doesn't, okay, fine. It's not their forever home. It's not where they dreamed of raising their children. It's not where, so on and so forth, right? So I see Jackie, you're with me, right? Jackie De Leon, right? Emotional clients. Like I'm sure we've all had it where an emotional client calls you up, ruins your day, or starts off, early in the morning and just gets your day off to a bad start, right? So we don't have nearly as much of that on the commercial side. Mind you, you're still dealing with people, right? People have emotions, that's normal, but is it far less? It's a lot less emotionally charged. Which brings me to the next point about the decision-making process, right? The decision-making process is oftentimes highly emotive on the residential side, right? It's feeling-based. It's, oh, I love this house. Like, I tell you what, by raise of hands or by a thumbs up, right, in the chat, let me know if you've ever had someone say, oh, this is the perfect house, but that wall is pink or that wall is green, so I don't like it. And you're thinking to yourself, well, you know, you can paint that wall, or it just doesn't feel right to me, even though it's everything, every piece of criteria that you ever found for them, and you put it in front of them, and they say, you know, listen, anything they've ever told you that they wanted, you put it in front of them, they're like, no, it just doesn't feel right, right? Because that's a feeling-based decision. Whereas a lot of times on the commercial side, we're dealing with logic-based decision-making. You take out a spreadsheet, you put in all the numbers, boom, 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 and well, does it reach my buying decision criteria or not? Yes or no? Black or white, you know, numbers and zeros, ones and zeros, so forth, right? So that's the beautiful thing about the commercial side, very much logic-driven, okay? On the residential side, you do have shorter deal cycles. I'm envious at times. You know, when people say they go out and they prospect somebody and a couple days later they have it under contract and it's closing within 30 days, that's part of the game. On the commercial side, we do have longer deal cycles, but not terribly so, but enough that it's noticeable, right? And finally, residential side, there's less time off. When people are making their decisions and doing open houses on weekends and they're working a 9-to-5 job, so you have to show things, show properties at night and on weekends. Guess what? You have less time off for yourself. So whereas on the commercial side, I can count on one hand how many showings I've done in the last 18 years, going on 19 next year, on the weekends, right? It's just not required of us. It's just, and if you're dealing with another broker, they'll look at you as a commercial broker like you have two heads. If you ask them for a weekend showing, why can't this wait till Monday? Are you silly? You know? So just know that. I mean, by a show of hands, or if you could type +1 in the chat, right? How many of you would like to have your weekends back? How many of you like to, or at least work less weekends than you're currently working now? Okay, I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Or more importantly, how many of your spouses wish that you would have a little bit more time for your family, a little bit more time off, right? And then the next one is going to sting a little bit, guys, but facts are facts, right? The average commercial agent on average makes more money than the average residential agent, and that's not guess. Those are facts that come from the NAR, and that's going to be the next slide. I want to show you exactly how much, so you get an idea what the earnings potential are when the commercial transactions are a little bit larger, right? So according to National Association of Realtors, the average commercial realtor makes $85,000 annually versus $39,300 for residential realtors, right? According to the NAR, that's not me, that's not a guess, but you must belong to the NAR, right? So let's take another look, right? The BLS, which is the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, shows that most sources indicate commercial agents earn around $85,000 annually. Okay, not bad, but more importantly than what that looks like annually, because don't forget that's adding in a bunch of newer agents as well. But if you compare the 85 to the 44, it's almost double. That's kind of the relationship I would like you to take a look at, right? So most commercial agents earn about $85,000 annually. Now, mind you, folks, I don't recommend that you just leave what's working for you and just run to the commercial side of things. I don't recommend that, okay? But what I'm saying to you is, what if all you did was add one extra transaction next year? 2 extra transactions next year, you know? Jackie, I see you coming in. Where are you coming in from, Jackie? I'm just out of curiosity. I want to see, what state you're coming in from. Because most states, a small transaction will be $35,000, $40,000. You know, if you get in a state like California, it's $84,000 is the average, because their average sale price is $2.8 million, you know? But getting back to it, right? The earnings potential. Commercial real estate agents have an average salary of $83,000, but right? Commercial sales agents have a median gross income of $153,000, right? So obviously there's some major earnings potential there. So like when you talk about salary, you're talking about people that are, maybe have a base plus commission, something like that, so something to consider. But when you're talking about sales agents, you're talking about 153,000. That adds up quick. Jackie says she's in from Georgia. Georgia has a $1.2 million average sale transaction, which is a $36,000 fee for one half of that transaction. So one additional transaction would put on average, $36,000 extra dollars in your pocket next year, right? Now, And again, the average across the United States commercial transaction in markets served by realtors, according to the NAR, is about 1.6 million. So if you averaged it out across the entire United States, each deal is about $48,000 at that 3% mark, which is pretty typical, 3%. All right. So what is the average price of a home across the U.S.? Now, some of you in California are going to look at this and say, ha, 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 yeah, right, 340,000. Right, but not everybody is California, right? There are some other parts of the country where the median price of homes is right around that 350 range. Maybe it's 400, maybe it's 320, but just median just means that, you know, half the amount of homes sold for less than that and half the amount of homes sold for more than that, right? So just to keep in mind, so then that's leading up to 2021. So this is a recent statistic. So when you combine the two, you know, if you look at the average commercial sale at 1.6 times 6%, that's $96,000. Half that, like I mentioned, was 48,000. Okay, and if you want to compare them side by side, you know, a $340,000 transaction, which is the median sale price, is $10,200. Whereas the mean or average commercial sale price is 1.6 million, and 3% of that's 48,000. Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that you would have to sell almost 5 houses to equal 1 commercial sale. You see that? 48,000 is 4.8 times the size of the median home sale. Okay, and anybody with me that wouldn't be terrible if the average sale they did was 48,000. You wouldn't have to do too many of those that earn some really nice money, right? So the question really becomes at this point, what would you do with more time, right? I tell you what, just take a second, folks, and tell me, what would you do with more time, or what would you do with more money? What's one thing that you would like to do that if you had more time or more money, you would enjoy doing? If you could do me a favor, put that in the chat. You know, most people tell me they'd rather spend more time with their family, or they'd rather go on vacation, or maybe buy that bigger house, or you know, buy that boat, or get a sports car or whatever. Tell me what something that you would like to do, okay? Because there's, you know, with a limit, if you won the lottery tomorrow, like, what would you do, right? And really, the question is, what would you do with more time? What would you do with more money? What would you do with more time and more money, right? If you're spending time, if you start adding transactions, you know, to your pipeline, and they are 4.5 to 5 times the size of the average transaction, guess what? You don't have to do too many more of those before you have enough money, before you have more time back in your schedule. So it's important to understand, right? Monica says she'd like to travel and invest. Amen to that, 100%, right? Travel, recharge your batteries a little bit, and then take some of that, invest it, and then plan for, you know, down the road. So awesome. I'm 100% with you, Monica, right? So does anybody have any questions at this time, right? I see Maria joined us. Maria, where are you coming in from? What state are you in? Maria Day. Just out of curiosity, I want to give you kind of the lowdown on what your state's average size commercial transaction is, because it always helps. Just like I'm sure you said to your teachers in high school, you know, like, why do I need to learn trigonometry, or why do I have to learn this, or why do I have to learn that? Knowing what the average size transaction in your state is helps put this entire presentation into perspective, because you say, oh, wow, okay, if I could understand or get my head around some of these concepts, you know, what would that allow me to do, right? So yeah, if you want to put your state in there, right? So that's it, folks. I just wanted you to kind of, like I said, change your perspective on some things, open your mind a little bit to what would actually happen if we were able to add 1 or 2 or 3 commercial transactions. By a show of hands, or if you hit the like button, right? Let me know if you'd like to have more time and more money, and maybe learn a new skill set, right? So, okay, I reminded myself, for those of you that haven't reminded me yet. So again, what we're doing here, our aim here at CRE Basic Training, right, in the Facebook group, Commercial Sales for Agents, is to help empower you folks to understand what's out there. And then once you understand what's out there, it's to help you go out and get it, if that's what you want, right? So we do have a promotion coming up. It has to do with our training, right? If you can keep your eyes peeled, we're going to be sending out emails tomorrow, as well as We're going to be posting in the Facebook group a little bit about kind of what this week is. We're doing a promotion week. We're really, really excited. We got some really new cool stuff that we're bringing to market, and it has to do with helping you folks learn more of these commercial concepts, and add a new tool to your tool belt, so to speak, so that you can turn around and you can have more time, you can have more money, you can travel, you can invest, you can get that bigger house, so on and so forth. You can have more time with your kids, take your family on vacations, whatever that means to you folks. Okay, so again, thank you so much for joining me today, but go ahead and stick around in the group if you want to take a look. Tomorrow we're going to be posting, I think it's at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be giving some details in terms of what we're going to be doing, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm in the group, just tag me, Christian Peter, right? If you have any questions surrounding commercial or anything like that, I'd be happy to let you know kind of what my thoughts are, or answer any questions you have. In the meantime, folks, thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you each and every week on Mondays at 5:30. We live stream every week here. Try to add a little bit of knowledge, to your ever-growing education, and hopefully we can help you and get some commercial transactions closed in the near future. Thanks again, folks. Look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.